Mr. Transformers 96 here with another end of the year video. This time I'm going to be doing my ranking for all the Hot Toys figures that I purchased in 2019. So I do this video every year. I think this is like my sixth one in a row, and I'm quite excited to do it. If you remember from last year, I had very few Hot Toys on the list just because I didn't buy too many last year, to be honest, and I was actually surprised at the end of the year to see that I only purchased 4 figures, and therefore my list was rather puny. This year though, I've taken it up a notch, and we're back up to kind of the normal rate because I have 12 figures on this ranking list. So I'm going to be ranking them all from my least favorite to my favorite. I'm going to rank, even if it was a Hot Toy that didn't come out this year, it might have come out like a couple years ago or something. If I purchased it this year, it's still going to be on my list because these are personally just the ones that I purchased. So I'm very happy to have another full list, unlike last year. I will say that I purchased Hot Toys differently this year, though, than I've really ever done before. The majority of the Hot Toys figures on this list I purchased not from Sideshow directly. I actually purchased them on eBay. A lot of them I waited, and a few months till after they came out. A few months later, I kind of looked back, saw if they were going for slightly cheaper, and things like that, and was able to score a few on a good deal. Actually, 4 of these I purchased from the same person on eBay who was just selling off a lot of their collection. A really nice guy who kept his figures, pristine condition, and they were all 4 of them were perfect when they got here. And he was willing to really sell them cheap. So I was very excited to see that. So I got a lot of them for a good deal. I also sold quite a few Hot Toys this year. Every year I sell a couple Hot Toys, but this year I sold like 6 Hot Toys actually. So I did a lot to kind of minimize my expense when it comes to Hot Toys, but I was still able to accumulate 12 Hot Toys this year, so I'm very happy about that. So let's get into it with my ranking from my least favorite to my favorite Hot Toy this year. In last place, we have the Power Pose Hulkbuster from the Infinity War line. This is a nice figure. However, the reason I have it at the bottom of the list is just because it's in a different area than the Hot Toys figures that are on this list because it's Power Pose. It doesn't have any articulation. So although it's quite large and it's quite a piece just based on its size alone, it is just kind of that. Like there's not a whole lot going on here. It's not even like a statue that's in a really dynamic pose. It's in a nice stance. I bought it for the size of it to get something that big and impressive like that, and I do like it. It's my only representation of this version of the Hulkbuster suit as well in my collection, just period. So I like it because of that. But again, I had to put it low on the list just because I didn't have a whole lot of fun with it. I got it, I was very impressed, I put it up, and it looks nice, and that's kind of the end of it. But overall, a nice figure for what it is. In 11th place, we have Killmonger here. This is actually my most recent Hot Toys figure. I put him low on the list because of the suit. The suit, although it looks great, it really does, it is a material that if you bend, it's going to leave harsh creases that don't really come out if they're left like that for a while, and therefore it makes the figure not fun at all, just because, you don't want to pose him because you don't want to you don't want to ruin the suit because the suit looks so nice. So it makes him a boring figure to mess with. However, to see it on the collection, it looks great. It does very much look wonderful. It comes with an actual face sculpt as well, which I think is great. My only other issue that I have with it, other than the suit being, so kind of delicate, is the feet. The feet have an odd look to them, to be honest, and they kind of roll up. I wish that the toes were down flat a little bit more on the floor. But overall, it is a great figure. It is a bit delicate. And next up we have Thor from the Infinity War line. Overall, quite a nice figure. I do really like it. My issue with him is a little bit more just kind of on the articulation point of things. He doesn't have any sort of bicep / elbow articulation that allows him to flare his arms out. And therefore he feels like a cheap figure almost, like the cheap, like Hasbro figures that can't swing their arms out at all, and that kind of annoys me. It really, hinders you as far as articulation and poses when it comes to his arms. And then just because of the way that his torso is sculpted, he has no articulation in the torso. So he's a very limited figure, I will say. However, I think that he looks very good. I like the kind of electricity pieces that go onto his suit. I think that looks great. And then the face sculpt I think is good. It's not, a fantastic face sculpt, but it's a good one for sure. So again, it could be a little bit better, but overall, a nice figure. In ninth place, we have Luke from The Force Awakens. This was a figure that I believe was released before 2019. However, I did purchase it in 2019. Overall, I do really like this figure. I think that out of all the Luke figures that have come out from the new trilogy, this one has the most grandeur to it. I like the costume the best, probably, even though it was for the shortest amount of time in the film. But I think that this is just an overall really nice looking figure. I do like it quite a bit. The only reason that I have it a little lower on this list is the accessories are a little limiting. He doesn't even come with that lightsaber that he's holding there, which I find very annoying. Even though he, from The Force Awakens, never physically actually took the lightsaber, I think it's a little crazy that they didn't give him a lightsaber as well as a blade and everything, just because people will want it to display him holding it and things, and yet they don't even give it to him, and they don't give him a hand to hold a lightsaber, so it is very annoying in that respect. However, the figure itself I actually really do like. And next up we have Rey from The Last Jedi. This is quite an improvement from the original Rey that came out for The Force Awakens, which was a good figure on its own, in my opinion. However, this one I think actually is an improvement. I think the face sculpt is actually great. Really solid face sculpt from all angles, which is very nice. I do like the longer hair as well. And then just overall, she has a good amount of articulation. Her clothing does not restrict her very much at all, and therefore you can do a lot with the figure. And again, she looks really great and comes with everything that you would really want for the figure. Alright, in 7th place we have Obi-Wan here from the prequels. So this is quite an exciting one, my first kind of prequel hot toy figure, basically. But overall I think that he looks great. Definitely a really nice figure, and one of the things that I love about him is the cloak. The cloak hangs so well. It's the same type of material that they use for General Zod's cape, which also hangs so well. I wish that they would use this for like every cape that there is, Thor's cape, just everybody, because it hangs so naturally, and it's great. So I'm a big fan of that, and I think it looks great. Overall, he just has a really nice presence to him, and is quite a nice figure. And next up we have Iron Man. I believe this is the Mark 50 from Avengers Infinity War. Great looking Iron Man figure. I used to buy a lot of Iron Man figures, especially back when Iron Man 3 came out. And I bought so many that I really got myself sick of them almost, and was like, I don't need any more Iron Man figures. So I waited quite a long time, and now I finally was like, okay, I need a new version of Iron Man, just because all of my suits are very much from the original kind of films. So this is the first one that I bought of kind of the modern Iron Man suits. And I'm very happy with it. I do think it looks very nice. It is a die-cast figure, and also it's extremely slick. That's one thing that the newer suits had that I never really had in my Iron Man suits, because they were, you know, kind of they were Iron Man 3 and kind of pre-Iron Man 3, so they didn't have that like really slickness, almost like you could just run your fingers over it and you won't even feel a bump or anything, because it's just all melded together. So that's something that I definitely wanted to get in the Iron Man suits, and this one definitely delivers. It has a fantastic paint scheme. It's really wonderful, shiny red. It just looks gorgeous. This was going to be the last Iron Man figure that I ever bought. However, Hot Toys had to show their battle damage endgame Iron Man, and that just blew me away, so I do have that one on pre-order. That will be the last Iron Man figure that I'll buy from Hot Toys. But really loving this one. My only issue with it is that that they released like an accessory pack for him, and a lot of those accessories should have just came with the standard release with this Iron Man. This thing costs so much money on its own that it just annoys me when they really try to squeeze more money out of you, and that seems to be Hot Toys' MO as of late. So yeah, but overall, really nice Iron Man figure. Alright, and taking that 5th spot, we have Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi. This is a figure that I really wanted to get, but I wanted it on a bit of a discount, just because I had the original Kylo Ren figure. But I'm a huge Kylo Ren fan, so I definitely wanted this version of him, especially being the first one with an actual, like, Ben Solo / Adam Driver head sculpt. And getting it in person, I am extremely happy with this thing. I think that it's a great figure. Has a cape that really hangs nicely. It really shows you his shoulders. It doesn't make him look poofy at all, and the cape just has a nice slick look to it, as well as a bit of a wire in there, so you can really pose it up exactly where you want it, which I'm a big fan of. Also, the face sculpt, when it was originally shown in the images, I thought it didn't look great, and I was kind of disappointed with it. However, in person, I think it's a fantastic face sculpt. I really love it. So it's a figure that I wanted because of the character, and then getting it in person, it was more impressive than I expected. And the original Kylo Ren figure is one of my favorite figures that Hot Toys has ever done. Really love that figure, and this one kind of builds upon that, which just makes it quite special and definitely a fantastic figure. And snatching that 4th spot just as stealthily as he snatches this idol here is Indiana Jones. So this was a figure that I wouldn't have expected that I'd purchase this year, but I really got into like an Indiana Jones kick this year. I've always liked Indiana Jones, but specifically this year I actually went to the theater to see one of the movies, and I've seen all the movies before, but just the theater experience was so much fun that I got a huge Indiana Jones kick and decided to purchase the Hot Toys figure, and I was very happy I did. It's a fantastic figure. Literally, if I purchased this back in the year that it was released, that year this would probably be the best figure of the year for me. But because it is a little outdated, because it's so old, the face sculpt is okay. Like, it's really good for Hot Toys back then, but for nowadays it's just kind of okay. We've had better face sculpts as well as better Harrison Ford face sculpts since this, so unfortunately it you know, shows his age a little bit. However, the figure itself is really fun, and what I love about it is the amount of accessories that he has. He's a DX figure, and he's a true DX figure that comes with so much stuff as well as full displays. Like, I love that you get the whole idol with the massive pedestal, as well as a base and a backdrop that matches this. That's exactly how I have it displayed in my collection, and it's such a centerpiece by itself. So that's the type of figure that I really like, ones that create like a whole scene just on their own. Those are my favorite types of Hot Toys. So again, he scores a little lower just because, you know, he's slightly outdated. However, a fantastic figure, and one that's kind of unique, and I'm really glad to get it in my collection. Taking that bronze position, we have Fanoohs from Infinity War. A really great figure, one that I knew that I was going to have to purchase, and getting it in person, it did not disappoint. Rather large and bulky and kind of menacing on his own, with 2 really nice face sculpts, an interchangeable arm, which I'm really happy about because I'm not a fan of rubber arms, so to get one that's fully bent, where I can display him with a bent arm, don't have to worry about the rubber or anything like that, is really awesome, with some good light-up features as well. A solid figure. I could see him coming with a bit more of like a display, I guess. He does come with a backdrop, which is quite cool, but the base itself, it would be neat if it was an environment, kind of bigger base for him. I think that would be neat, as well as to get the individual Infinity Gems, like the actual, their casing for them, like the accessories, because they've made almost all of them before, so it would have been really cool to give you all of them with him, like the Tesseract and the Eye of Agamotto and the kind of Reality Stone canister and everything like that, the orb. Just, it would have been really nice to get those things. Kind of surprised that we didn't get them, to be honest. But overall, a really nice figure, definitely deserving that 3rd spot on the list. And in the 2nd spot, we have Captain America from Avengers Infinity War. This was a figure that I wanted. It really caught my interest when I was first shown, but I didn't purchase it. I wanted to just kind of wait and see, just because it was such a specific Captain America to Infinity War. And, you know, I prefer to get more figures that are a bit more timeless in my collection that kind of cover multiple movies and not just a single one. However, I was able to get him on a good price after he was released, and getting it in person, I was really excited by it. It has such a nice presence to it. The face sculpt is great, even better than the official images. Getting it in person, it has a really solid face sculpt, and just a fantastic Captain America figure, one that I really enjoyed, and I really like the costume for even more when I had the Hot Toys for it. And he comes with quite a lot of items as well, because I did get like the deluxe or the movie promo edition version, and therefore he came with a lot of accessories and some pretty cool things. So overall, really enjoyed this figure, and just, it has such a presence in the collection, even though, you know, some of the figures towards the top of this list are, you know, DX and massive ones like Thanos and things. He actually, you know, kind of cuts through them and really stands out, even though he's just a standard figure. Alright, and taking the number 1 spot, we have the Star Wars from the prequels Darth Maul figure, DX figure. Really fantastic. I have to tell you that the reason that this is number 1 is because when I got it out of the package, I got everything out, and I kind of started messing with him, and I said to myself, well, this is the best Hot Toys figure I've received in a long time. You know, sometimes when I'm doing my list, I'm somewhat surprised by my number 1, and sometimes, you know, I kind of know it from the moment that I actually get it out of package. And this is one of those times where I took it out of package and I was like, well, I know when I'm making my video at the end of the year, this is going to be number 1, or if it's not, there's some amazing figures coming my way. So this one's just really impressive. It hits everything that I could have wanted. I'm a Darth Maul fan, and Darth Maul is, dynamic character, and therefore he lends himself to dynamic poses, and then the figure and the costume lend themselves to dynamic poses as well. It's perfect. He wears baggy clothes that, unlike Killmonger, where you're afraid to pose him and to rip the costume or to leave creases. With this guy, he's got baggy, full clothes that are easily posed, where you don't have to worry about them at all. And if you leave him like this for a year and then put him in a standing up position, his clothes are going to look just as good as any time. So it's not an issue at all, which is great. He comes with 2 fantastic head sculpts with both with movable eyes, which is incredibly fun. And then also, I love a good wire, and he's got so many wires in his like skirt piece here that you can really have him flowing and paint just such a picture with this guy. Oh man, once I got this pose, I was just loving it, and this is how I display him in my collection. He's so dynamic and just incredibly cool looking, as well as he comes with a lot of stuff being a DX figure, and really just, again, one of the figures that I've gotten that I've just loved right out of package and really had fun with. Because there are some figures that I get and I love, but I don't do much with them. I get them in a nice stance, I get excited and I put them in my collection, they look great. But some of them I have fun with, I pose a lot, I take a lot of photos with, and then I get them in a really awesome pose and then put them in my collection. And that's what I did with this Darth Maul figure. A really fun figure with a lot going on, and I love figures with expression. This guy has a mean expression on him and just is looking great. Alright, there's my ranking video from the 12 Hot Toys that I picked up this year, from my least favorite to my absolute favorite. Some great Hot Toys came out this year. Quite a lot of these I actually purchased, not like from pre-order from Sideshow or anything. A lot of these I purchased after they were released. There were a lot that I waited to kind of make sure that 100% that I wanted, and also to get them on a better deal. Out of these 12, let's see here, it looks like 7 of these I purchased that way. So more than half of them I waited for it to come out and purchase on eBay, which is unusual. Usually the majority of the figures that I buy are from Sideshow directly. But this year didn't buy too many from Sideshow directly. But as you can see, quite a range of figures here. The only thing that I'm lacking on is a DC figure. I didn't buy a single DC figure this year. Obviously, Aquaman was kind of the only DC movie to come out that would have been released sometime in this year, and I just didn't really care for any Aquaman figures and things like that. But it's unusual to not to have a single DC figure on this list, but we have plenty of Star Wars and plenty of Marvel. It's basically split almost 50-50 between those two, with the exception of Indiana Jones, who's just kind of the lone wolf by himself. But overall, great figures this year, some really fun ones, none that were terrible. Sometimes there's just like one that's, by far my least favorite, and that is not the case this year. Some really strong contenders, and I'm very much looking forward to the figures coming out next year. Darth Maul now joins the rank with Joker, Falcon, Vader, Jack Sparrow, and the Mandarin as my #1 picks of the year for the past, what is that, like 6 years. So yeah, overall, great figures this year. Let me know what you guys think of how I rank them, how you guys would rank them, and I'd love to hear your guys' least favorite as well as favorite Hot Toys of the year. Thanks so much for watching.